How we treat the elderly varies from one culture to another. Your text author provides the account of C.W.M. Hart and his experience with the Tiwi tribe, and how the men in the tribe carried out the task of covering up the Tiwi woman who was too feeble to take care of herself. They basically buried her alive and let her die in a hole in the ground. And apparently this custom was only used for the women of the group. You can see from this example that various societies have very different cultural practices. Compare it to how industrialized nations keep the elderly in nursing homes, sometimes on life support to extend their lives. In contrast to this is the practice of the Abkhasians, who live in Georgia, who often live past 100 and are treated with great respect. Diet and work through old age are credited towards their long lifespan. This map helps you understand what's known as the graying of the globe. Because medical care and industrialization brings about better living conditions, on a global basis, people are living longer. For instance, in Japan, 1 out of 4 people is 65 years old or older. At this time, 2/3 of all people who have ever passed the age of 50 in the history of the world are alive today. This helps you understand how short lifespans were in previous generations. However, this brings new challenges regarding resources and the care of the elderly. The United States is experiencing what's known as the graying of America. Looking at this chart, you can see in the 1900s that most people did not live past the age of 50. Now, life expectancy is well into the 80s for men and women. Yet, at the same time, the United States is not doing well compared to other countries, as it ranks only 12th in life expectancy on a global level. Another way of understanding this shift in age expectancy is to consider the percentage of the population age 65 and older for the past 100 years, and what's projected for the future. In the year 1900, only about 4% of the population was age 65 or older. By the year 1950, that had doubled, and by 2000, it had tripled. The expectation is that by the year 2050, the population that's over the age of 65 will be over 22%. This means also that the median age has changed over the years. In the year 1900, the median average age of a person was 23. By 1950, it was age 30. By 2000, it was age 35, and the projection is that by 2050, the median age will be 42. From a global perspective, Italy and Japan have the 2 longest life expectancies, while Afghanistan and Zambia have 2 of the shortest life expectancies. There are definitely states in the U.S. where the population tends to be more gray. Florida has the highest rate of the elderly, in part because it has no state income tax and people move there, while Alaska, Utah, and Texas have the lowest proportion of elderly citizens. The term ageism refers to the prejudice and discrimination that the elderly experience. Before the Industrial Revolution, most people did not make it past age 60. So those that did earned the respect of the community for their life experience and wisdom. Technology, which diminished the amount of skill people needed, and mass education, which allowed more people to amass knowledge, stripped away the relative superior knowledge that the elderly had. This eroded the respect that younger people had for the elderly. However, because the elderly now have better health and better means to take care of themselves, the respect level is now shifting back again to more positive views. The mass media had a role in changing the way we depict the elderly as well. As the concept of old age has changed, from the past idea of frailty and disengagement from life before death occurred, to one where people have active roles, can explore life in the world, and have the financial resources to enjoy themselves, the stigma of old age has been reduced. The strain on Social Security funds and the burden that this is placing on young people would be something conflict theorists might want to study. Medicare also comes at a high cost. Older individuals are seen more of an asset these days and not so much as a liability. This is due to the better health, the increase in financial assets that the elderly have. This is a fairly recent trend that's occurred in the past several decades. Years post-65 are now seen as the years where people can grow and explore life, rather than those years that simply precede death. When the view towards old age changes, this would be of interest to symbolic interactionists, who would see how old age is now reinterpreted in a more positive light. The social nature and the concept of age and aging is illustrated by this photo of Halle Berry. In her 50s, she would have been considered old by the standards during most of the 20th century. Because social construction controls this concept, she's now not considered old by current standards.